Let's talk about the Baltimore Ravens heading into the 2024 season. We're going to go through their depth chart, their schedule, what Vegas has as their projected over-under win total, and just some opinion pieces on my thoughts on them this year, their coaching staff, etc. We'll get through this relatively quickly. So obviously, quarterback Lamar Jackson. A lot of people were upset that Patrick Mahomes was ranked the fourth best player in the NFL, and there's a lot of talk about people saying like, "What? How you're so delusional?" People are thinking Lamar is better. What are you talking about? Lamar Jackson is a difference maker. Any argument someone wants to make about what rank he is in the NFL as far as being the best player, top 5 player, the guy just makes plays. That is indisputable. And having a guy like that in a run-heavy offense that can keep it, pull it down, make guys miss, it just causes so many issues for a defense. And I know I'm stating the obvious here, but I wanted to lead that into them acquiring Derrick Henry, right? In Tennessee for the entirety of his career, getting that dude to come over to Baltimore. You have Patrick Ricard in the backfield leading the way. This is going to be so fun to watch this offense this year. I'm so excited to see what Todd Monken does with these two in the backfield. I know Justice Hill's back there as well. But having Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson, and Patrick Ricard, it's going to be sick. It's going to be so much fun to see what they do. I want to move on to the offensive line. Ronnie Staley, obviously, you got Andrew Voorhees, Tyler Linderbaum, which I love that kid. I think he's an absolute stud. He was great at Iowa, and when Baltimore drafted him a couple of years ago, I was wondering who was going to pick him up, and I'm like, that's the steal. That is one of the biggest steals I've seen this draft. Tyler Linderbaum's going to be there for a very, very long time. Tight end, Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely, another very good room. A offense that can run 12 personnel confidently, having two guys that are very, very good players. Mark Andrews, obviously one of the better tight ends in the NFL. Receiving room, Rashad Bateman, Zay Flowers, Nelson Aguilar. And then on the official depth chart, they got Zay Flowers backup, Tylan Wallace, and then Rashad Bateman, and then backup Nelson Aguilar. Moving to the defensive side of the ball, they've got a lot of, and I know Baltimore kind of runs the defense where it's like, is it a defensive end or an outside linebacker? The guys that they have here, and I know there's been some injury problems, I understand that, but Odafe Oweh from Penn State, David Ojabo, hopefully he can get healthy. Adisa Isaac, another dude from Penn State. Those guys all on the edge. Kyle Vanoy, an older veteran. Very exciting room as far as the defensive end, outside linebackers go. Matabike and Pierce anchor down the interior. Travis Jones, Broderick Washington, solid group on the interior. Roquan Smith, one of the best linebackers in the NFL. And I know a lot of people were upset when Patrick Queen went to the rival and went to the Steelers. I'm taking Roquan Smith 10 days out of 10 over Patrick Queen. Dude is just a freak of nature. Trenton Simpson is to start opposite of him. Good depth piece, I think, is Malik Harrison. Very solid inside linebacker. Cornerback room, obviously, you got Marlon Humphrey, Brandon Steffens, Kyle Hamilton at safety with Marcus Williams. And Eddie Jackson, but Eddie hasn't, been playing a lot lately, so very good offense, very good defense, very good team on paper. John Harbaugh heading into his 17th year as the head coach. And running through this schedule, I know that with the Ravens being in the toughest division in the NFL, right, the AFC North is pretty much undisputed the number one division with, Joe Burrow and the Bengals, Steelers just always being solid, and now Deshaun Watson coming back for the Browns. Let's just run through this schedule real quick. They start off the year going to the Chiefs. Very, very tough game, obviously. Then they get to play the Raiders at home. They go to the Cowboys versus the Bills, at the Bengals versus the Commanders, at the Bucks, at the Browns, versus the Broncos, versus the Bengals, at the Steelers, at the Chargers, versus the Eagles. Bye. Very late bye for the Ravens this year. At the Giants versus the Steelers, at the Texans versus the Browns. Now, last year going 13-4, the over-under total projection for Baltimore is set at 11.5. I could see them going 12-5. I could see them hitting the over on that. Again, I mean, just some of these games, man. At Kansas City versus Buffalo, at Cincinnati, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough sledding. But if the Ravens are able to stay healthy, not get too many injuries, because, again, I think it's kind of brutal. They have that super late bye. I mean, they've got all these tough games early on in the season. You play the Bengals twice. You play the Chiefs. Like, it's tough. But if they're able to get through those first 13 games, 9-4, 10-3, their last 4 games at the Giants, Steelers at home, at Texans will be tough, Browns at home, and they're able to, sort of nurse their injuries, their bruises, and their bumps. They could end the year pretty hot going into the playoffs. Projection-wise, I have them as the 2 seed. I have Kansas City at 1, the Buffalo Bills at 3, Texans at 4. Again, very good team on paper. I'm excited to watch this offense. Lamar, Derrick Henry, Patrick Ricard in the backfield. I know Zachary Orr is going into his first year as the DC for the Ravens. I think he's going to do fine. I mean, their defense has been so solid for so many years. They haven't changed really anything. You still have Marlon Humphrey, Roquan Smith, that defensive line, that edge room, outside linebacker room, whatever you want to call it. I'm very excited about. Should be a very good year for the Ravens. Is it the year that they break through and get to the Super Bowl, potentially win a Super Bowl? It's hard for me to say yes to that just because of how stacked the AFC is compared to the NFC. Chiefs, Ravens, Bengals, Browns, Chargers now with Harbaugh, Bills, Dolphins. We'll see. I think the Ravens are a lot better than a lot of those teams I just listed, obviously, but just staying healthy and not getting too bruised along the way is going to be a very, very big thing for them. I would have them going 13-4, 12-5, and very excited to see Lamar in the playoffs this year. Hopefully they can get hot. I'm pulling for the Ravens. I like John Harbaugh a lot, and I would love to see them have a lot of success this year.